Hello guys, so this is my newly updated uh, Cortex tier list for like mid of 2025. I had to get this video out because I was dissatisfied with my tier list already. It's only been a couple months, but I have to get this out because the meta has already changed so quickly, and I need to talk about it. So you'll see. I also forgot to add a unit last time as well. I didn't realize this, but Cortex and Armada have a difference between their, what do you call it? Their tactical missile launchers. Cortex has the Catalyst, which is a traditional tactical missile launcher. It fires a missile that like explodes. Yeah, is a tactical missile, guys. That being said, it's actually really good. It outranges a lot of the what's it called? The um, the T2 defenses, like the T2 artillery, get outranged by Catalyst. And so if you're not Cortex, you don't have access to the Catalyst, and so you might get tactical missiled. The Armada one is the Paralyzer, which doesn't deal damage; it's just EMP. So the Catalyst does something that the Armada cannot do, and it is a solid effect that I had to put up into A tier. Like it can actually push down frontline bases just because it outranges them, and you can just keep lobbing them in, destroying the enemy key defensive structures, and just slow push them. It costs metal upkeep, metal and energy upkeep. It's actually kind of expensive. It's like 8 metal per second, so that's one T2 mechs per second to produce a missile every, I don't know, like a minute or so. I forget. But like it's solid damage. Like it can push a front line, so solid effect, solid. All right, so we have our tier list. I forgot to do that. S, A, B, C, D, S, A, B, C, niche D, and beyond all reason. I will still go over every single unit, talk about everything I know about them as much as I can remember, as if this was like a new player and you were looking at this video for the first time. All right, so S is amazing, right? Oppressive units. A are solid, good units, right? B are balanced units. A and B don't really need to be nerfed or changed all that much, maybe like slightest of slight tweaks. I would say more so on B, might need to be buffed like slightly, right? C is okay if you were like to use these. They're okay units. Niche is not necessarily bad. It could be good. It's just like kind of rare. D are actually bad units. Beyond all reason are also kind of like niche, but if you're building them, you're kind of crazy. All right, so we'll begin with the decoy commander. I'm moving them up to top of beyond all reason tier because they have a buff now. They have like build power and like um, damage and a cheaper cost. So they can be used as engineers, but they're just sort of like mid. It's like I don't know why you would build them necessarily. The one use case I see that they have like a specific use case is where if you have them on the front line, you bait the enemy into running into it, and then you kill all those frontline units. But that is such a rare situation that I don't know why you wouldn't rather just build T2 engineers or construction turrets at your base. Um, yeah, so command T2 commanders or like decoy commanders beyond all reason. If you're dead set on using them, you are beyond all reason. I cannot reason with you. Commando, I will move up a little bit. Technically it doesn't really move them up because all the engineers as well are A tier. I just put them down here for the sake of an aesthetic tier list, okay? All engineers are. Commanders did, I think they got buffed as well because last I checked their cost looked much lower. Um, I was actually a little surprised by them because I had a game where someone actually used them as like a submarine, an amphibious unit, as like a duck basically, and it was like, wait a minute, that thing could actually sweep me if there were like 10 of them, or for its cost. I think if there were like 5 of them, I think it could have actually swept me. Like I was playing as the air, and I saw my C player on Supreme Ismith didn't realize it, but there was a single commando in the water that had gotten into his base, and I'm like, what? How's that? They could go underwater? I'm like crazy. So they're actually really fast. They're like the speed of a sprinter, which is crazy. Almost the speed of a sprinter. They have so DPS and HP, I think, but they were really fast for some reason, and they can go underwater, which is kind of crazy. So the commando is a paratrooper. You can load it into a transport, and if the transport is destroyed, it will just fall into the ground and be alive. So that's what you're supposed to use them for. So I think that the strategy with commandos have gotten more viable. It's still beyond all reason, and we still need more data, okay? I haven't seen that many people go commando, but if you want to be a crazy one, you go commando on Cortex. Okay, what is this? Oh, okay, yeah. These are all the engineers. all engineers are A tier, but I had to put them down here in the Beyond All Reason tier just because it makes a more aesthetic tier list. In the early game, you want non-air constructors because these have better build power per cost. In the late game, you want air constructors because they can build in weird places. They can also make compact bases more easier, so that's why they have like a better use case in the late game. And you can still use air constructors. You just put down construction turrets and you have the T1 air constructor do it and put down the construction turrets and basically your construction turret base, but you have the air constructors as like your planners, which is very nice to have. In D tier, still D tier, we have our bot line anti-air units that are still complete garbo. Like, why has no one buffed them yet? Like, they're still complete garbo. Like, Flack like outclasses them in every way still. Like, I would never build these unless you absolutely have to, because like you don't have access to vehicles, right? These fire like single projectiles to single target air units. Like, it's not gonna stop a bomber swarm. It's not gonna stop a gunship swarm. It's only gonna stop straggler air units. Like a straggler amount of shurikens that try to EMP you. If there's like 5 shurikens, yeah, I can deal with it. But if there's 25 shurikens and you have 1 manticore, GG, your army is dead. All right. Yeah, if you have 1 flack versus 25 shurikens, it's like hands down, guys. Flack wins every time. Like in the context of like your army and they're like F commanding. Like if they're targeting it with the EMP, yeah, I mean, of course, right? All right. So in niche tier, we still have mobile anti-nuke, solid unit. If you like mobile anti-nuke, you can use them. I mean, they're just okay, right? Otherwise, you'd use your base anti-nuke, like the building. You have your minesweeper. Minesweeper builds mines. The mines have upkeep of energy. They are cost efficient if the mines connect to enemies. If they do not, they are not cost efficient. They also cost APM to use, which is very difficult sometimes. They can also get Junoed, which I put into my Armada tier list, the Juno right here, which is A tier. It's a building that can EMP and destroy scouts, which are ticks and rovers, and mines as well as radar units, radar and jammers. So it's countered. So the minesweeper is countered by the Juno. All right, this is a hover unit. Hover unit is okay. This is a amphibious unit. Amphibious units are okay, C tier, right? Guard bike. This is a amphibious unit. Alligator. This is an amphibious unit. You don't want to use like these ones right here. They're so just like okay. They're C tier. They're just okay amphibious units, right? I will move the duck up a tier though, because I think the duck might be the most commonly built out of all the amphibious units because it has it has torpedoes built in, so it walks along the seabed and it can help assist in the water battles. So if you need to as Cortex, you can build ducks. Ducks are, in terms of DPS against water units, it's not that great, but if you have enough of them, you can aid your water player if you're like a land player. So ducks are pretty useful, so I'm gonna move them up out of the amphibious tier. Hover amphibious tier. Yeah, the reason I have this is because this is like a unique hovercraft for the wait, actually, wait 1 second. From what I remember, actually, this is a missile launcher, and I think actually both factions have missile launcher hovercraft. So actually, this is not a unique thing, but I don't know why. It's just stuck in my tier list. Hovercraft, amphibious units are C tier. I just think duck is great. Okay, duck is a little better. It's more commonly built. Behemoth or Behemoth, as like the AI says something. Behemoth, Behemoth, right? I think it's a C tier, honestly. Honestly, I see the number of times I see Behemoths wrecking people is about the same number of times I see Behemoths getting degunned. Oh my god, it's so funny when they get like, it's just too slow and low ranged to like be like a very good unit, because you need a lot of them then, because otherwise the commander is just gonna degun one. It's like I see it all the time, so I had to move them down. Otherwise, if there were no commanders, right? They're actually solid units. Solid units if there's no commanders that degun them to destroy them instantly. But like, yeah. Gotta move them down a little bit. Dragons, I will still keep them in B tier. If you're a new player, you really want to be careful building dragons because they are expensive, and if you do not have the economy to support them, they will wreck you because you will build stall forever. They cost same amount as a T1 fusion, and so that's really expensive. Their purpose is as heavy. It's a flying fortress, but the way you use it is as a gunship. You use it defensively, but primarily the best case use is when you mass them up in the super late game. You have like 10 to 15 dragons. You fly them in a loose formation, not stacked up, because if they're stacked up, they get flacked down with AoE in a loose formation, right? In a loose formation, and you fly directly to the backline, and you target those fusions. You target those fusions, those converters. You target those, and if you can, split them up before the fusions explode. So if there's no anti-air attacking you, you can split up the dragons and leave like 1 or 2 hitting the fusion as it explodes. And that way you have a larger section of them moving on to more fusions in the back, right? If they are getting attacked by like anti-air and stuff, fighters, you want them all targeting like the first fusions you find, like the first advanced fusion. Generally, it is you in that state in that late in the game. You don't want to target T1 fusions. You want to target the advanced fusions. You want to find like the stack of them. So you fly to the back line. You do that. Once you reveal your hand with dragons, you pretty much can't do that again because they'll have the enemy if they have a brain, right? They'll build anti-air again. They'll build more fighters, right? So once you do the backline rush with the dragons, you can't do it again. Usually if the enemy has a brain, right? Okay. And that's when you would swap to its secondary role as a defensive gunship because it's hard to bring anti-air to the front line. And that's why gunships are really good on defense. So that's the dragon, right? B tier still, okay? Be very careful with them. Twitchers, I'm going to move them to A tier. It's a combat engineer. It can build some units and some structures. All that considering, I'm going to put it into A tier. It's a solid unit. Yeah, it's a solid unit. Helps your T2 engineers build their advanced mechs very quickly. Termites, I'm still going to keep them B tier. I actually don't think they're actually that great as when I said in my last tier list. They're still just okay units. They can take hills. That's pretty much it. That's their only use. They're just okay with that. And on frontline battles, they're not going to do that good. Vehicle, long range, artillery, rocket artillery, right? For whatever reason, they can't fight command in, and so they have an issue because you have to micro them more, and that makes them more difficult to use. So I'm putting them there. Otherwise, they have good range and good damage. Rate of fire is slow, obviously, but good range, good damage. They can push down a frontline base. Very nice. Because of the fight command thing, and actually, arbiters can be microed like back and forth because they're a bot. They can turn really quickly. I'm moving them up to low A tier. Where am I gonna put them? I'm gonna move that down there, right there. Something like this. I'm gonna put them right here. Okay, yeah, they're actually really useful in the Sheldon balls because they can also fight Sheldons pretty well. Because if the enemy Sheldon player is trying to like be fancy and move back and forth to the Sheldons, sometimes the arbiter shots, because they're disjointed and they fly slowly, they can catch an enemy player trying to juke your Sheldon shots. So with the Sheldon combo, it can be pretty good. So that's why I'm moving them up to A tier. Missile tanks. Where did I put missile tanks over here? T1 missile tanks. Kind of a rough spot to identify equivalent location. I'm gonna have to eyeball it here. I'm gonna move them up. I'm gonna move them up to here, actually. I think here's just about right, actually. You're kind of low on my tiers. Wait, I put them below the detection bot, so I will keep them where they are. Put them into A tier. I think they were B tier last time. They're actually solid units. In T1, you have to mass them up because they are long range, low DPS, low speed tanks that fire a little tracking missile. It's not tracking missiles. But if you mass them up, it's actually pretty cost effective. They're vulnerable to rush down, obviously, and I think they're just solid T1 opening. Like, I've seen a lot of high level players use them, and they can be pretty oppressive sometimes, just not always. And so they're solid units, A tier. Oh my god, guys, it's that part of the video, guys. The reason I made this tier list is because of this one unit right here, T2 Janus, guys. T2 Janus. Oh my god, guys, T2 Janus. T2 Janus. Okay, so it's the Banisher, right? But I call it T2 Janus because they buffed it. Okay, they buffed it. It's cheaper, I think. It can fire backwards. Who thought this was a good idea? They made a T2 Janus because the Janus can do that. It has way more range than a Janus. It has way more HP than a Janus. It's still quite slow, but the range is so good on it, and it tracks. Its missile tracks. Can you believe it, guys? Its missile homes in. Its missile can also hit air, guys. It can hit air. It's anti-air, guys. And guess what? On top of that, it has AoE. It has AoE. It just explodes in a giant explosion. It's so good, guys. It's like my favorite unit in the game. The Banisher is the T2 Janus, and it is my favorite unit in the game, and it is so good. It is so good that it needs to be nerfed, but please don't nerf it because it is so cool and so fun now. But it's so oppressive, guys. In the high tier lobbies, what happens in Supreme Isnif is the Geo player is the designated Banisher rusher. You need Banishers by 8 minutes, guys. 8 minutes, or it's like 8 minutes 30 seconds or something like that. Okay, it's like it's a certain timing, guys. It's a general ballpark, like 8 minutes 30 seconds or something. It's in that ballpark. You get those Banishers. Your teammates will boost you to get those Banishers out. 2 Banishers, Jammer and Radar, Geo player. I remember I played a game there, and I did that. And I built like 30 Banishers, and my damage efficiency was over 200% in a high tier lobby with like 30, 40, 50 OS players. 200% efficiency in one game. It's just nuts. Like, it's the most OP unit in the game right now. It is so good. It used to be so bad or like so mid, but now it is like the most oppressive unit in the game. The one weakness it has is massive, and I mean like massive, like T1 bot, T1 tick spam, right? Massive. It is like, and the thing is, those bots and spam can be countered and played around. So this is just an oppressive unit, guys. This is my favorite unit. It's T2 Janus. There's so many memes with this. It's like Janus, and then the bigger T2 Janus. T2 Janus isn't real. It can't hurt you. Meanwhile, this unit right here, Banisher. T2 Janus, guys, is my favorite unit right now. Besides the Janus, of course. Please don't nerf either of them. They're so good. I love them too much, dude. I love them too dearly. Please don't. Please don't nerf them, guys. Please, please. Alright, where were they in the tier list? Oh my god, dude. The Janus or the Banisher went from B tier to like best unit in the game. Alright, Tremors. Moving them up a little bit still. When I've seen them being used, they're actually pretty good. They fire. Oh, they're a calamity on wheels. They're really slow at turning, but they can fire while moving, which is good. They're really good at saturating the area. I feel like they do really well once you get to 2 of them. One, it's kind of low DPS, but if you have 2, they have a lot of DPS. I think you need to fire. You need to set the ground behind the target so that it engulfs the enemy a little more, because otherwise it will barely hit the target, I think. Vehicles for I'm gonna say both tanks for the at the same time. Both tanks for Cortex are kind of mid right now. Incisor doesn't have enough DPS. Its tankiness is okay or good, but its speed and costs are too high for its low DPS, and it gets overwhelmed by bots. The Brute gets degunned. It's tankier. It has better tank and speed and DPS, but it gets degunned and it's expensive, right? So at the higher level play, you don't see them that often, because if you have 5 of them and they get degunned, that's 300 metal per. So that's 1.5k metal that you just lost to degun. So that's just game losing at that point. And the number of times I've seen that happen, even in high level play, is a lot. People are really good at degunning in high level, high OS lobbies. OS is of course the ranking system in this game, which stands for open skill. We went over Twitchers. Fiends, I will keep them. I'm gonna move them down just because I think they haven't been used as much. They're deep. I think it's just me keeping them high tier, even though they've been nerfed like a long time ago. They're just okay, solid units that deal damage. They're a good stopgap unit. They have a flamethrower, a good unit. It's just fast fire damage, and it's okay. I mean, its tankiness isn't that great anymore, right? Pounders, I think I kept them in top of A tier. Oh, I forgot. I skipped two units here. Bedbug and Scuttle. I think the Scuttle can cloak. The thing is, both of them are pretty much the same thing. One of them can cloak, right? The cloaking one is technically better because it can get in closer. Of course, cloaking costs energy, which is a cost. These are suicide bombers that if a couple connect, they can like destroy almost anything. And they're slept on units. They're good units that people don't build enough. I think these are slept on units. Let's see. The Pounder, I think I over-evaluated in my previous tier list, actually. Or perhaps the meta has changed or my knowledge has expanded. I'm going to keep them top of B tier right now, again. The biggest thing that I've noticed is they lose so hard against aggravators, it's like insane. If the enemy is competent, like I'm referring to like the highest level of play, so I'm looking at this unit in its entirety. At the highest level of play, like this Pounder will get like obliterated by rocket bots. You can't build enough Pounders before the aggravators swarm you and kill you. You can't repair them fast enough. You can't do that. I've done it like multiple times. I gone Pounder trying to like pound the enemy. But the thing is, aggravators like rocket bots just demolish Pounders, and rocket bots are still so commonly built that if you build these guys, you're gonna get like swept. That being said, if there are no rocket bots, these are really good units to defend your long range options, your long range artillery, like your Wolverine. Very good pairing. If you can survive like the horrible like 0 to like 4 Pounder stage and 0 to like 5 Wolverine stage, if you can survive that phase and get to like over 6 Pounders, like 10 or more Wolverines, you're golden. Like that becomes the Pounder is no longer B tier. Then it moves back up to A tier because at that point it's actually doing a lot of work. It relies a lot on the Wolverine count and not dying to aggravators in the early game. But I'm telling you, if you build Pounders and the enemy spams aggravators, you're gonna have a really bad time. Really bad time. So this is the T1 heavy riot tank or anti-swarm tank. It fires a high damage pellet that deals knockback. It knocks back enemies, so it's really good at dealing with bots, plasma bots. Sometimes I think, and it's just like bots. It destroys them like like your assault bots. It'll destroy them. If the enemy is actually running in with units, the Pounder does well because it's quite DPSy and tanky for its cost when it's in range. Right? Problems are it has low range, low speed. Okay. Enough with a Pounder, that's why it's down there. Transport is good, don't sleep on it. Transport it around, move engineers, move construction turrets, don't do islands. Very good unit, don't sleep on it. You need a heavy transport if you want to move a commander or something heavy. I think that's how it is as well. Karganeth, it fires tracking. Yeah, is it tracking rockets? It can hit air. It's a spider unit. It's a T3 unit. It has good cost, good tankiness for what it is. It can somewhat frontline, but it's a little bulky and a little because it's bulky. It takes a lot of damage. So it's a solid A tier unit. It's just a solid unit. You can supplement your T2 army with them because it has an anti-air. Solid unit. We talked about the missile tank. T1 missile tank. We have all the stealth and jammer and radar. Bots, you need them for vision and to deny vision to the enemy. Very important, very solid. Sumos are solid. Yeah, I'm gonna move them up. Are they better than that? Yeah. Sumos are solid bot line, like tanky units that have a very good laser that can hit air as well. They're tanky. They have okay to good cost. They're kind of slow, low to medium range mostly. But I think they're better than wielders, much better than wielders. They can deal with spam better than wielders for some reason. I think the laser just hits fast enough. It just feels good to use. You do need energy to fire with them. I think mammoths are basically big sumos. Mammoths have won games. I've seen it. I've seen high level OS players lose to literally like 10 mammoths. You just build 10 mammoths and they sweep. You just send them in. They require specific counters to destroy mammoths. Long range, high damage. Starlights, massive numbers of starlights, snipers, bombers. Actually, I don't think bombers are going to do so well against them. Gunships, I don't know, because banners can hit air. So these things are walking laser turrets, and they have low range, but such good tankiness. Low range, low speed. Okay, good damage, right? They can hit air, so good. All right, bombers. This is just a generic bomber picture. I took all bombers are A tier at least. Very solid units that can end games. Don't sleep on them. Even as a lander player, you might want to transition to air to try to get a bombing run in. All right, T2 artillery. No, T3 artillery. Yeah, they're better than Pounder. T3 artillery for Cortex. I had to put them into B tier because for what do you call it? Armada, I actually put them into A tier. I talked about it in that video. I'll talk about it here. Catapults cost more, have lower range, and they fire slower than vanguards, and they cannot climb cliffs, right? Those are actually really big downsides. It has better saturation. The thing is, the most common thing you're going to be firing into is an enemy spam wave, right? And it can do the job. It's such a hard decision for me because like I put them top of A tier, but if you have enough catapults, they're actually good units. So maybe it depends. I don't think they're as bad as a Pounder. Okay, I'll keep them low A tier, but vanguards are definitely like a little better than catapults, I think. In my last video, I said like the opposite, but playing at the highest level, I've seen catapults far fewer and have much less impact than the vanguards. The catapults, it's just you can't get enough of them because they're like 1.5k or like it's like 33% more expensive or something. 50 to 33% more expensive, and that's pretty significant. And because they get distracted and they fire slower, it's harder to correct them if they miss their shot. So it's worse than the Vanguard, right? Lower range. It can go through plasma deflectors, which is one of their upsides, though. So that's one of the upsides. So that's why I have to keep them in A tier because they're not as bad as a Pounder, basically. They're not bad units. It's just that they deal with spam worse. They have some downsides. That I think the cost thing is the biggest thing, though. The cost is the biggest thing for them, and the rate of fire probably. Cost and rate of fire are like the biggest things. All right, where were we? Oh, generic Thugman. Plasma bot. It's a light plasma bot. Okay, light plasma bot T1, solid unit. It's just like your soldier unit. You can use it to kill commanders. If you perfectly micro it should kill a commander every time as long as that commander is like out in the open and can't get to safety. You can kill commander guaranteed every time with good micro. So it beats my commanders in low metal maps. It does really well as well. Low metal maps. It's a solid unit, solid soldier unit. Quakers are solid. They're solid. T3 artillery. They have a slower firing rate, but bigger damage and bigger AoE than the Armada equivalent, which is the Mauser. I really like using the Quaker because it just feels crunchy, right? It just crunches units. Like it feels like it deals with spam better just because it hits more reliably or something. But I've tested it in like my own little like sandbox. I tested multiple different battles between Quakers and Mausers and their associated factions tanks. The Quakers are slightly worse than Mausers. It depends on how you get the engagement, on who fires first and stuff, but they're like slightly worse. It's like 5 to 10% worse. Maybe like 5%, right? It's just slightly. It's like a 45 to 55, right? It's a very slight, but I tested it a lot in terms of metal costs and that. I still really like them. They're still actually overall cost-effective units to spam out. Solid units still. Cerberus is... Did I put it above the Catalyst? I think the Catalyst is better, actually. Because the Geo is no longer in the front line on Supreme Ismuth, the Cerberus isn't that as important as it used to be, but it's still a solid building. It is still pretty good. I don't think it's changes its tier that much. I think the tactical missile launchers just built more often nowadays. Cerberus is still a solid unit. It's a Geo power plant that fires like artillery. It's an artillery emplacement. Yeah, solid unit. Exploiter is still like top of A tier for like the Cortex Destructive, because the impression the Exploiter has left on me like cannot be understated. Exploiters have won games all on their own just because no one expects them, and then they have so much DPS. It is insane. They're so tanky and have so much damage. The T2, the upgraded version of the Exploiter is an insane defensive structure. It's so good. Grunt I will leave on top of A tier. It is actually worse than the Armada equivalent right now. That's why I buffed the Armada and I nerfed the Cortex here, right? Right now, I'll talk about it again. Right now, the Grunt has like a better cost than the Pawn, but it's not. It doesn't feel like it, and also, its build time is relatively the same. So in the opening phases of the game, it feels like they'll get a lot more pawns or like an equal number of pawns, and because pawns have way more DPS, more speed, and not a significantly less amount of range, the grunts can't get enough shots in before the pawns close the distance. So the pawns deal too much DPS or are too fast or have too much range, right? I think the grunt might have too little range. I think that's the key thing. Grunt could use a little more range, I feel. And so I feel like they're losing the opening engagements on Supreme Ismith a lot more. That being said, if one side spams grunts and the other doesn't spam enough pawns, the grunts will win. But like, right now, I think the grunts do a little worse than the pawns. The DPS on pawns just feels really very good. If you're spamming them out, the grunts because the pawns still feel better against other units as well because like the DPS is still pretty good. All right, Juggernaut for Cortex T3 Titan unit, Titan equivalent. Because Cortex has so many tanky units, this is not necessarily the most important unit, but it's still a Titan unit for the Cortex, and it's very good. It's immune to EMP. It has 2 big shotguns, a big laser that it fires pretty long range, and an arbiter rocketed shot. It's like a long range rocket, right? Solid, the biggest tankiest unit in the game, like its biggest damage. You can also it also explodes like a fusion reactor. When it dies, you can also self-destruct it to deny the body to the enemy team as well. So when it's like at 10%, 15% HP, you can self-destruct, deny the body, get a huge explosion. Very nice. T2 vehicle, main battle tank, the Tiger, is the most cost-effective tank in the game. It has the best HP to cost ratio in my opinion, with DPS and speed and range. It has everything you want in a main battle tank. Its cost isn't so bad, so if you're on a low or medium economy, you can fit a couple maybe. On high economies, this is a good unit. Like, if you have a huge economy and you're spamming out Tigers and Quakers, like that is a very strong army. Tigers are really good. I see Tigers punching into the backline way, way more than Bulls ever do. Bulls, you can't get enough of them. Tigers, you can get so many of them and punch into the backline. Feels so good. So tanky, good DPS, like, yeah. Because the Cortex do not have the tick, their best scout unit is their only scout unit, which is their vehicle scout, the Rascal. Because it's their only scout unit, it's their best scout unit, S tier. The Tsar used to be oppressive. It used to be the meta like a couple months ago, but people have gotten a lot better with degunning them. I think the strat I didn't realize it until like recently. The way you deal with them, one of the ways you deal with them is you cloak a commander under stealth, and then you run out and degun the Tsar as it is approaching. And so high level players, high OS players are much better with dealing with the Tsar. That being said, the Tsar can still be pretty oppressive if you don't do its counter, right? If you don't kill it somehow. I'll move it down to 8 here. I'm gonna keep it about. I can move it about here. Yeah. Because otherwise, outside of like the opening front line, as a unit overall, it's kind of mid. It kind of attacks its own units just like the Fat Boy a little bit. So it's kind of mid. So balance it all out. Yeah, maybe it's not the best unit. Yeah, we'll put it here on top of the spy bots. Yeah, right here, A tier. Solid, but it has its pros and cons. There are certain situations you want to use it, certain situations you don't want to. Some things you want to look out for, some things you don't. Diva is a solid T3 unit. It's just solid. It's not oppressive. Is it oppressive? Well, I think it's one of the best T3 units for. Yeah, I actually had to move the demon down a little bit. Yeah, I have to move the demon down. Hold on. I'll talk about the Shiva first. Okay, the Shiva is a T3 walker unit. It has good HP for its cost, good HP. Um, it has a Arbiter rocket on it, and it fires basically Zar shots, but it has more range than the Zar. I think it feels like more range, but not maybe so. It can walk into water as well. Walk along the seabed. It has no defenses in water though, so be careful. It's not that fast as well, so be careful. Unlike the Marauder, it's still a solid T3 unit. I think it's one of the best spammable T3 units for Cortex, so it stays S tier. Demon, I have to move out of S tier. I think for a time it was really oppressive, but I'm not sure if there was a nerf with it, but I haven't seen them doing as well. Um, uh, Hold on, let me think a little bit. All right, I'm tentatively gonna keep it S tier right now, but it's still a solid unit. It's still pretty tanky. People say it's flimsy, but I think it's still pretty tanky. It has decent cost. It has decent speed. It cannot walk through water. I think that was a mistake in the last video, or maybe a change. I don't think it can walk through water. I tested it. Can't walk through water anymore, or if it did, it never did. I don't know. Can't walk through water, right? But it has good damage AoE, and it's a flamethrower unit, right? Giant flamethrower mech. I mean, I think it's still pretty good. Um, it does the job of dealing with spam a lot better than the Armada T3, like the what do you call it? The Thor. It does better than the Thor. Where did I put the Thor? B tier, right? Yeah, it does better than the Thor. I think if you have them, you can like. I think you can spam them out more than the Thor, and he'll do just about as much as the Thor. So I think they're better because of that. Um, Compared to Razorbacks, I think if you're fighting Razorbacks versus demons, I think the Razorbacks do win in equal numbers just because Razorbacks are made for that. But it's like they're kind of not made to engage each other. They're fighting, or the Razorback is designed to engage with the demon, but the demon not necessarily. So I think the demons are still solid units, because they do the job of like the Thor just better. So I think for its class of a T3 unit that deals with spam, I don't think there's anything better than a demon. I think that's the best unit in the game that deals with spam. Because Thors are just way too expensive, and demons are like pretty quick on their feet. Yeah. All right. Flack. T2 Flack from vehicles. Best anti-air in the game as a unit. You want to build this over your Trashers and Manticores and whatever. There's really not much to say about it. It's Flack anti-air, deals AoE in the air, is so good. T1 vehicle artillery is like the best T1 unit that you could have a lot of. If you were to choose one and have a lot of for free in the T1 phase, like this one would be the best one. It's like the strongest one because it can push down all the T1 defenses. Yeah, it's a vehicle or artillery, very strong, still good. Rocketeers are still meta, like they will never not be at this point. It's just the only long range option for bots in the T1 phase. It pushes down T1 light guard towers. Yeah, very good, very good. Spam them out, repair them, just keep microing them, and they'll do well with them. They're like the bread and butter for this game, basically. Shuriken's best EMPer in the game. T1 air, Cortex only. Cortex only, still S tier. EMP can save your allies a lot. Win battles that you shouldn't, and it changes the course of the game a lot. Shurikens are amazing. Excuse me, I did both of these videos back to back, so I'm getting a bit hoarse. All right, so Sheldon's. I think Sheldon's, because Banishers have been doing so well, I think Sheldon's aren't as good as they used to. In cases where there are no Banishers, I think Sheldon's are still strong units. Wait a minute. Oh no, I didn't talk about the Hound. Oh no. I didn't talk about the Hound in the Armada video. Okay, I'll do it here, okay guys? I forgot to do it. I'll do it here, guys. The Hound is the equivalent for the Sheldon. The Hound, I think it's still an A tier unit. Its cost seems to be buffed. It just doesn't win as much against the Banisher. It's just a solid unit. Like it's a solid skirmisher unit. Same with the Sheldon. I don't know if the Sheldon is S tier necessarily anymore. I'm gonna keep it low. Like both of these, I'm gonna keep it low S tier now. Tentatively, like it could drop down to A tier, but I need to see more data. I still think the Sheldon is a very solid unit. Almost suppress it. It depends on the situation now because there's a lot of different things that have like long range and there's a lot of different strategies high players use. And getting to Sheldons kind of takes a lot of time. Hounds, I would not change their position honestly. I don't think they're used as much, but they're still solid units. So nothing really has changed with them. It's just the meta. They've been both of these units have been used a little less, but I still think they're really good. Yeah, they have their weaknesses because the Banisher is just so good. Banisher. All right, Resbot. Everyone needs to Resbot. I think reclaiming is better than resurrecting. Uh, just because when you reclaim, that metal goes into your economy. Well, when you resurrect, energy goes out of your economy into that unit, and it takes way too long for that unit to be resurrected. And that unit then gets killed instantly, and then you're just wasting time. You lose the territory, and then you could have reclaimed it, but you wasted all your time resurrecting, and you resurrected one unit when you could have reclaimed everything, and now the enemy is on top of that metal field, and that's a disaster. Okay, so that's why I like to reclaim more, but these are S tier units. You always want to use Resbots. They're like the best unit in the game because economy wins wars, and if you can reclaim metal off the field, that lets you build more stuff. Commander is the best unit in the game because it can kill every unit in the game with a D gun basically. Game revolves around them. It has economy built in, build power built in. It explodes. You can sacrifice it to get to T2 faster and stuff. It's just the most important unit in the game. Game revolves around them. And that's about it for my updated Cortex tier list. I had to do this a lot earlier than I thought I would because the meta changed so quickly after like an update. Unfortunately, the Legion faction didn't come out, but one day that'll come out. And the tier list will be out after a little bit, probably, with the Legion faction. All right. Hopefully this tier list is updated and you guys can learn something from it. All right. Thanks for watching and goodbye.